This episode is brought to you by Kimball's Cookies, custom cookies for every occasion. And by Matthews Arcade, custom-built arcade games. And Kinesi Shoes, feed the flame.
Okay, we have Frank Duarte joining us with Paul Banke tonight. And Frank, lots of questions for you. Number one, I always say this when I look at guys like you and that era with your record. If you were fighting today, when you were fighting, there was 2 world titles. And if you didn't win one of those, you weren't going to become a world champion. If you were fighting today, you'd be a 6-time world champion. Yeah. And it would be a whole different story. Let me ask you this now. Paul, you want to ask him something? I know you've got a million questions. Go, you start.
I'm a big fan of Frank Duarte. Come on, man. Frank, first of all, how many? I mean, I looked at your record before, and then, Frank, how many pro fights did you have? 58, 59?
No, originally I had 56. That was listed on BoxRec.
Right, I saw 56. That.
Then recently I looked and they took away 12 of my fights.
What?
And I'm trying to figure out why they did that. Maybe I have an enemy out there somewhere who told them I didn't have certain fights. And now they're saying I had 54. I'd like 56 sounds better, and that's what I had.
Especially if you really have it.
Yeah. Frankie, how many amateur fights do you have?
I lost count. I didn't have that many. I had 20-something probably. But they're not the amateur fights that show up on BoxRec on the amateurs, because they weren't like they were like regional, they were the Golden Gloves. I won the Golden Gloves. First, I won the Junior Golden Gloves Championship when I was in the juniors. Then when I turned amateur, I won the Golden Gloves twice, and I won the Diamond Belt. I went to the Nationals in Boston, Massachusetts, 1972, maybe 73. I forget.
Damn, dog, 72, bro.
72, huh? 72 Nationals in Boston, and alongside me was Randy Shields, Arturo Frias.
Wow.
Roy the Boy Hollis. Do you remember Roy the Boy Hollis?
It is familiar.
Yeah, he's the only one who won the Nationals. So I lose. At some point I lose. I had a couple fights. I won, then I lost a decision. So I had the choice to go straight home or stay there, and root along my fellow my teammates. I decided to stay. And all we did was got drunk. The fighters who lost, we just got drunk and had a ball. You had to be 18 years old to drink in Boston.
Yeah.
And being as you had to be. Now, check this out. This was the first time I had been to. I was 17. It was the first time I was ever in the snow, and it was the first time I ever was on a plane. And on the plane, they were messing with me because when we get a little turbulence, I go, and Arturo Frias, all them, they went a million times. They did a lot of traveling right there. So a little turbulence, and what's that? They go, oh, I don't know. So, they knew what it was. They were messing with me. And I was all like, oh, shoot, man, we're going to crash. It was a great time. And let me tell you, there was a song that how certain songs throw you back at a certain spot. Here it is. Tie a yellow ribbon.
Tony Orlando and
yeah.
That's 72.
That song comes out. I'm in Boston, Massachusetts, because there was a big hit at that time, and it was on the radio all the time. Good time, man. Yeah.
Wow. So then you fought as a pro, you were 45-8-1 on BoxRec. You say you have 2 more fights they took away for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And then, so you fought
let me check.
Go ahead, Paul.
Go ahead. Listen, I got Google. You know, I have to Google it again, check out. But listen, bro, I'm very impressed. You got, I mean, you fought some bad boys. You feel Bernard Pingo, how you pronounce Pingo, right? Bernard Pingo.
Yeah.
You fought Albert Alvarez twice. You won a TKO, and he beat you by a TKO, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay, wait. You fought Jesus Salud. You won just
when he was 20, you fought him.
I gave him his first loss.
The George Garcia you fought, is that the one for the Hammer?
So where?
His name is George Garcia. They call him the Hammer.
George Garcia from Westminster, right here.
Oh, you know what? My bad. I know George Garcia.
Yeah, George Garcia.
Yeah, I know George. And you also fought my boy Mike Moreno. You fought him once or twice.
Oh, you know Mike?
I fought him 3 times in amateur.
Oh yeah, I fought him once.
Wars.
Yeah. He was a good fighter.
Yeah, Beto Duran.
What I liked about Mike Moreno was he was kind of old school. He knew how to block. He knew how to. He was real technical. You know, everything he did was he threw nice punches. I was really impressed with Mike Moreno. I wore him down. I think I just kept. He got tired of hitting me in the face. Man.
So then he was with Beto Martinez and the other guy, Beto Martinez and we used to train him back in the day. Beto Martinez, I can't think of it.
Yeah, he was from Arizona.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a champion of Arizona.
He fought Salud now. That fight with Salud, you won against Salud, all right?
Yep.
Now, Jesus Salud was undefeated. I was the old veteran coming back. I was a sentimental favorite kind of because I had made this comeback to the ring, and I was struggling. You know, I was winning fights, but I couldn't get back on TV or any big fights.
I noticed that in your record, you were fighting in like really small shows.
Yeah,
and the next thing you know, you're back at the Forum and the Olympic. Yeah. So tell us about that whole thing. You were going to tell us what happened with that.
Yeah. So I was struggling to get back up there again. And well, see, let me tell you though, originally when I made my comeback, it was my only intentions was to have 2 comeback fights, make enough money to buy a used car and buy a few clothes and go look for a 9-to-5 job because I had been screwing up so bad. I was on heroin and drinking out on the streets for 5 years after I had retired from the ring. And I was so down and out and depressed that I said, I got to do something. I kept trying to quit using drugs and I just wasn't doing it. I got to, I prayed. I swear I prayed. And I cried. I swear I was so in pain that my life had turned out to be what it was. And I got kicked out of the house finally. I stayed with my mom and said, because it wasn't working here. So I decided to make this comeback. But this comeback was only to have 2 comeback fights, make enough money to buy that car, used car, only beat up junk, and some clothes to go look for a 9-to-5 job and try to live a normal life. That was my intentions. So I go to the 10 Goose boxing gym. Joe Goosen is just a young, really enthusiastic, but didn't know a heck of a lot. He knew something. He had a knack. He was a great motivator. But he didn't know the sweet science that good yet. As he would later in later years.
They know it now. Yeah.
Yeah, now they know. But back then they were growing. They were only like 2 years old in boxing. So his enthusiasm, his motivation, is what kept me going. He was everything. I had the experience. I had several fights already. So these 2 comeback fights, I never told him I just wanted 2 comeback fights, but so we started working and we have these fights. Now, the big thing was that my first comeback fight, nobody gave me a chance because they knew what I had been doing. One newspaper article came out and was saying that I should be allowed to fight. That's my right. That was the topic of that article, about my right to fight. At the end of that goes is Frank Duarte will most likely regret, making this comeback. My first comeback fight will probably regret that first comeback because that's how everyone looks at it. When fighters make a comeback, it's seldom ever successful. And lo and behold, I win. I stopped the guy in 7 rounds. And man, I put the guy on the canvas in the second round. I hit him with that 1-2, bam, bam, right, left, right, bam, right on the button. He goes down. I hadn't felt that in so long. So there's 2 comeback fights that I was talking about. After that fight, everyone's patting me on the back. Hey, Frank, how good you looked. And so, that motivated me to have some more. And before you know it, my 4th comeback fight. So I win my first comeback fight I stopped the guy in 7. Second comeback fight, I stopped the guy in 4 rounds. Third comeback fight, I think I won a decision on that one. My 4th comeback fight was against Richie Sandoval.
Richie Sandoval, bad boy.
He was the champion at the time. He was unbeaten. And I'm going to fight Richie Sandoval.
How'd you do?
I lost a split decision in Sacramento. It was a non-title fight.
Okay.
And I don't like. Okay.
Go ahead, tell us.
He deserved to win, but here's what happened.
Do you think so? Do you think he deserved to win?
First round, he comes out with the attitude, I'm going to get this old man out of there fast. So right away, he teed off with a right hand right on my button. I didn't even blink. I just kept coming at him. And I caught him with a short right hand that buckled his knees. So 2 things. He knew that he couldn't hurt me and that I could hurt him. So he fought that way. He was completely defensive. And the fans started booing. At some point, I kept trying to make the fight, but he howled a lot. And but anyway, I ended up winning by I ended up losing a split decision. Now look, this is the champion of the world, unbeaten, Richie Sandoval, and here's me, this guy who just came back with the intentions of having 2 comeback fights, and it was kind of like a victory. How do they call that? A
moral victory.
A moral victory. That's what it is. Yeah. And that was a moral victory. I was patted on the back, not just for going the distance, but putting a close fight that was a split decision. So I go on and said, guys, but I missed the boat. I needed the win to really put me up there. 5th comeback fight, just nobody's, finally I get it. Now it's going to be Freddie Jackson. Freddie Jackson's like number 2 in the world at the time. And I had heard he had just fought Daniel Zaragoza. And if it wasn't for the fact that he had points taken away from him or something like that, that he was beating Zaragoza. So first round comes out, and it was close. I could have, to me, it could have gone either way. Nothing really happened, but I was later find out they gave him that round. So the second round comes out. I hit him with my famous right cross, and down he goes. Boom, he goes down hard, man. He gets up and he starts moving. He's moving, man. He's throwing punches too, but he's moving. I'm on him, and I feel like I'm going to get him. I just sense it. Bam! He hits me in the eye we headbutt. I cut my eye. Oh, yeah. So anyway, I told you I put him on the canvas. Did I say that?
Yep.
Yeah,
Second round.
So that's a 2-point round supposed to be, right? So anyway, he gets that headbutt, and the referee, they stopped the fight. So I'm figuring, well, okay, I don't like winning fights that way on headbutts, on cut eyes. But I'm going to win because I got 2 points for the knockdown. He gets 1 point for that first round. But guess what? I didn't get 2 points for that second round. Know why? because the round wasn't over yet. So the round's not over. When they stop the fight, they don't score that round. I end up with a technical draw. Back to the drawing board. It was really depressing because it was my chance to get back in the top 10 and to get into some money. So I have several fights more, a few more fights, and just small club fights again. Then Dan Guzin tells me, "Hey, Frank, I got you in the Stroh's tournament." And I didn't even know what that was, And he explained to me 50,000. Back then it was 50,000. Later on I heard it was 100,000, but for me it was 50,000. And okay, so I remember being a little discouraged in training because there was a new kid on the block. Michael Nunn was their new star.
That's right. Yep.
They left me training by myself at the 10 Goose for that week before the fight because Michael Nunn was going to fight in, I think, his hometown, Davenport, Iowa.
Yeah.
So I was kind of, I was a little upset about that, but oh well, okay. So I have the fight, and
Come here.
it was a real good fight. The fans were standing and cheering after every round, and we went toe to toe for like almost 3 minutes straight on one spot on the ropes. And after the fight, the fans were just standing and cheering. And then the decision comes along. I win the decision. And then right there, I'm the sentimental favorite. Everyone's cheering for Frank Duarte. Now I got to be on TV again. I'm in the newspaper a lot, boxing magazines. And then from that fight was Georgie Garcia. With Georgie Garcia, he was a real clever boxer. He was hitting, he landed a lot. He wasn't hurting me, though. He's not a real big, he wasn't hurting me, but he was landing a lot of punches.
Where was that fight? Where was that?
That was at the Forum also. It was
the Stroh's tournament?
Stroh's tournament still,
okay,
yeah.
Okay.
But I'm a late starter. I'm known for that. I'm always losing the early rounds. So I don't know. I think it was the fifth round where I caught him a good right hand at the end of the round that buckled his knees. And so I'm kind of on him. Then the bell rings. Second round, I sense I'm getting my timing on. I feel like, but then once again, a headbutt happens, or maybe, so I'm trying to now see. That was a long time ago. I ended up winning the fight.
It probably
it was a punch that cut him. It wasn't
okay.
It was a punch, and I got I won by technical knockout. So he was ahead on points at the time, and fighters are ahead on points a lot of times with me, but I end up catching up.
You're a slow starter, exactly.
And I don't want to say anything, like if I would have caught up or not. It didn't happen. I'm not one of those guys like that say things, this would have happened or that would have happened, because we just don't know. Fighters, you hear them after fights. So I don't like to do that. I tell the truth. I don't know. I felt like I was going to be coming on, but
it doesn't matter. You cut him with a punch.
Yeah.
So it's
And after that was a salute for the final. Now I'm in the papers. I'm famous again, or real popular anyway. And
wait, Frank. So you fought Frank Salute? You had Jesus Salute in the finals?
The finals, right?
Wait. So was that the bantamweight? That wasn't super bantamweight. Bantamweight.
Bantamweight, yeah.
Okay, you could see later on he went up to super bantamweight.
Oh,
but I didn't know that.
Yeah. He was a bantamweight. So what happens is, it's a big buildup. It's like a world title fight. Well, today it would be,
It would. It absolutely
would
be.
Back then, but it was also going to be for the North American title was put up also for that fight. So here he is, the old man fighting against the old experienced man, fighting the young, upcoming, undefeated fighter, the perfect, combination for ticket sales. And so the early rounds was back and forth, the first round. But then once I caught on, I was on him. I started my experience was I think what took over, and towards the end I was really nailing him. And then his eye was shut, completely shut. So they stopped the fight on that, and I was ahead on points at the time anyway. And I felt like I was going to stop him. I mean, I was just getting stronger and stronger. So now I'm the North American champion, the Strohs champion. Jerry Buss gets up in the ring to give me my $50,000 check. He gets on the microphone and I forgot what he says, but $50,000, and he gives it to me. And man, my life just turned around at that time.
You could have bought a new car. You could have bought 3 new cars in those days.
Yeah. Oh man. I could have bought my own warehouse where I was planning to work. And I was like when I was first coming up in the pros, before I started messing up on the drugs and all that. I was really coming along gangbusters. And it felt like that again, but only this time I was so much more appreciative of it, because the first time around when I was like 18, 19 years old, coming up as this guy who's going to be the next world champion, I was, you're young and dumb. You don't appreciate things as much as you do when you get older and live through some hard times, but it was like that again. But this time I appreciated it more. And one thing I knew is enjoy it now, because in a short time, you're going to be nobody again. It's like when I was coming up in the pros, when I was like 18, 19, I thought the popularity I had was going to last forever. Then I found out I had a new name. His name was Frank Who. Because when everybody would introduce me to people, hey, this is hey man, this is Frank Duarte, and they go, Frank Who? And so when I made the comeback, and when I was up there again the second time after I beat Salud, I said appreciate it, because this ain't gonna be this way all day. They're gonna forget you eventually. Yeah.
Right. That also got your fight against Zaragoza, right?
Huh?
I gave you. Yeah, it also got your fight Dan Zaragoza.
Oh yeah. Oh, that
put you in a title fight, right? Was that a title fight?
That was way later.
That was your last fight ever.
That was my last fight. Yeah, I had more fights after Salud. Then Bernardo Panengo was next.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
That's your first world title shot.
Okay. My bad.
Yeah, bro. So Bernardo Panengo, man, I swear this could have been the heavyweight championship of the world. The newspapers, TV interviews, boxing magazines. Everyone was talking about it. People were at the weigh-in wanting to buy my story. Said, hey, Frank, they wanted the rights to my story. A couple of people asked me that. People were talking about a movie. If I won that world title, it was, so I go in the fight. I'm just overwhelmed with this attention I'm getting. I'm saying, God, I just wanted 2 comeback fights. I was supposed to be punching out. I was supposed to be punching out on the time clock, for some minimum wage job somewhere. Look where I'm at now. And so I remember how it just touched me inside. It wasn't just a young kid coming up in the pros who gets up there and, man, this is great. To me, this was way more emotional, because I had thrown it away when I was younger. I was so down and out during those 5-year retirement before making a comeback. And this thing that happened to me was just overwhelming. And I was coming out of the dressing room. Frank, you're on. I'm coming out of the dressing room down the aisle, ready to come out to that from the tunnel, right where the fans start to see you. And the place, there was a lot more people there than most of the fights that on ordinary nights. And they were stood up and they cheered for my entrance to the ring. And I'm gonna tell you a secret. I don't know if I ever told anybody about this, and I don't know if anybody noticed. Maybe I don't think anybody said. Tears came to my eyes on the way to the ring. Tears came to my eyes. I was so touched by this attention I had gotten. I had dug my way out of that hole, that addiction to heroin, drinking, hanging out in sleazy bars, stealing to get money to buy dope, disrespected by looked at as a bum by bums alike. I'm the people who looked down at me were on the same level I was, but they had never they seen me throw this opportunity away. And all of a sudden, here I am. And it wasn't sudden. It was a struggle to make that comeback. But at that moment, it felt like so sudden that I was getting all this attention. And so in that fight, I got to tell you, it was a hard fight. The guy was slick. The guy was so slick. I got, okay, I don't like to say, fighters, you hear them all the time. I got robbed. I got robbed. They didn't even see the fight yet, and they're saying I got robbed. How can you know you got robbed? You're in there fighting. You telling me you're keeping score while you're fighting. You're keeping score. I don't know how they do it because I can't. I don't know how in the heck someone could keep score while they're fighting. Because I tell you, I have one round go by. When I go back to the corner, I don't know if I just won that unless there was a knockdown. And so in that fight, I'll never say I got robbed, or I don't I don't know. Other people are saying it. Some people don't, and I don't know. It was a hard fight. The guy, I heard him more than he ever heard me several times, but he hit me a lot more times than I hit him. And I felt it. He kept hitting me on the same spot right here on the forehead. He hit me with this overhand. Bam, bam. And at first, I didn't feel nothing. It was nothing. But in a short time, boom, boom, that thing was hurting. But I kept going forward. But I fought a stupid fight. I should have practiced what I preached when I tell younger fighters. I said, no, man, once in a while you got to step back. Make them think. Don't. See, what I did was I kept him alert. I kept him sharp by being on him nonstop. I got reckless in the fight. With all my experience, I threw all my experience away and I got reckless. I had him down. I almost dropped him in the 10th. I put him down in the 12th. And it was a 15-rounder, one of the last 15-rounders they ever had. And I was so tired, man. I fought 12s. I fought 12s, but those last three are a doozy, I gotta tell you. But I did it, 15 rounds.
So what do you think? Now, looking back, you've seen the tape many times. In your heart of hearts, did you win the fight?
I still can't say. Because I have two. I can't look at it in the right perspective for two reasons. One reason is I want to be the guy who won.
Yeah, biased.
I'm biased. On the other hand, I am my biggest critic.
Yeah.
When I see myself getting hit by punches, to me, it's like getting hit, tenfold. Everything I do wrong. I'm real hard on myself. With the 3 points taken away, I kind of think I won the fight. I won't say I got robbed though.
So you think it was competitive, but you eked it out?
Yeah, I think with the 3 points they took away for the low blows, and I don't like to win fights like that, man. I don't want to win because they took 3 points from him. I want to win because I won. But because of the 3 points
and the knockdown,
I think I won the fight. Like I say, I'll never say I got. I'll never say I got robbed. But please, everyone else has been saying, keep on saying it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say you got robbed. Most people do think so. Gina Aguilera talks about it in his book a little bit, and me and him discussed that. I think you won the fight, and I think you got robbed. But like you said, what's it going to do now to cry about it? Nothing.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think you won the fight. I watched it several times since, and I watched 2 different versions of it, and I keep score. I think you won the fight, and especially with the points. I mean, I don't see how you could not have won. It was really, really close. The points did it. Like you said, you don't really win a fight like that, but it's part of boxing. He would take the win with the points taken away if he got them.
Yeah.
So they take points for a reason. Okay, so that, and you lost. I'm not mistaken. It's a split decision loss, right?
No, it was unanimous.
It was unanimous. Okay.
But you know what the fun part is? When I watched, I watched it so many times only, and then I got tired of watching it. But I watch it again because other people want to watch it when they come over. Hey, Frank, put on that fight, and people. So I put it on. The part that really makes you think is after the fight, Oscar Munoz comes in the ring. Armando Munoz comes in. They're both hugging me. Mondo's looking at me like, yeah, you did it. Oscar Munoz just telling me, Frankie, you're champion of the world. And we're waiting for the decision. And I never accept that until I hear it. I'm not jumping up. You didn't see me, fighters, you see them jumping up after they ring, I won the fight, and they haven't even announced it. I will never do that. When they announce a decision, okay. So, but what you'll observe is when they're announcing the decision, Bernardo Panengo sits down on his stool. Did you notice that? He sat down on his stool, and his expression is like this, and when they announced him as the winner, he goes, and he stands up. Later on, he says he thought he won the fight, but at that moment, he did not think he won the fight, or at least he didn't think he was going to get the decision, even though his judges came from.
How about, did you speak to him at all after the fight, before the decision?
No, I can't speak Spanish, but but I remember when they came to my dressing room to tell me good fight. Him and Goody Espada says, comes to my dressing room, and hey, good fight, blah blah blah, and Joe Gooston says, hey, are we gonna get a rematch? And Goody's sure, yeah, we'll give you a rematch. His manager, Goody's we'll give him a rematch. Sure, it was a good fight, blah blah. And then he turns to Bernardo Panengo and tells him in Spanish what about the rematch. And Bernardo Panengo, I remember his expression was like, he goes,
yeah, why go through that again, right? He just got all he could handle. You don't want to go through that again. You move on and take the victory and just keep running.
So I can't speak Spanish, but I didn't have to. The expression spoke for itself.
Okay, so you lose a very close fight. Most people think you won. And now what happens next?
Next from there, oh man. This is one of the most wonderful times in my life. I come here. This is a victory in one. Even though I didn't get the decision, I'm being treated like a champion of the world. Everyone's treating me that way. Newspapers are still writing on me. I'm still getting interviewed. I'm on TV on Channel 7 News being interviewed. I'm on 3 or 4 channels. No, I'm exaggerating. 2 or 3 channels. channels destroys on me. And so I'm like, wow. Then here's what happens. Rick Murata.
Yep, the cut man.
No, Rick Murata. He's the
TV, the radio show that
sports
Sunday nights at 5 6 o'clock.
At the time, he was the color man for the Los Angeles Raiders back then. So, Frank, he doesn't really know me. I met him a couple of times, but we don't really know each other that well. But he did a piece on the fight. He was at the fight and he did this piece. He invites me to go on a sea cruise. Royal Princess. Royal Princess is like, at that time, Royal Princess.
So you became friends with Rich Morale. You became friends with him, huh?
Huh?
You became friends with him.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So he invited me on the sea cruise. It's gonna be for free for him and me. But the reason it's not just me and him, it's me and him and 3 Raider football players. See, Royal Princess gives them free tickets to put a show on the ship in the auditorium where they talk Raider football. And the audience could ask them questions. They tell their story. It was Chris Farr, Doku Williams, and Todd Christensen. And Rich Murata tells them, hey, Frank Duarte will put a show on too. So in the auditorium, so anyway, we fly to Tahiti. That's where we caught the ship. From Tahiti, we get on the Royal Princess. It was fancy. We cruised to Bora Bora, Fiji Islands, New Zealand, then Australia. 17-day cruise. Peaches flambe, escargot, and caviar. It doesn't taste good, but makes me feel real fancy.
I agree. I had caviar like a wedding. I'm like, who would want to eat this junk?
Yeah.
Everyone's eating it. You gotta act like you like it.
You gotta pretend. You gotta be part of that.
Yeah.
So they did my show on the ship. They in the auditorium, there was a bunch of people in there, and I went up. First, they show my fight. Rich Murata first does the announcing told the story about the comeback and my struggle, and then they show the fight. Then he does more talking to the audience. Then I get up there and I answer questions and take pictures with people. I swear, I was big on the ship. They didn't know me. These people are from other countries and other states, and almost nobody knew me, I don't think. But they knew me after that, and I was popular. Everywhere I walked on that ship, hey, Frankie, hey. And man, I was eating it up, man, I tell you. Now, to me, this was like a bookmark in my life, capturing everything I had done on my comeback. It was like my present, like a gift, a special gift to me, for my effort in this comeback. And it saddens me sometimes when I think about it, that sometimes you just want to go back and do it again. And not the fighting part, but
that part, the cruise and
all the autographs and the newspapers and all that, but it was so unbelievably like a dream. It was really like, in fact, I had told sports writers that before, who had interviewed me. I said, "No, it feels like I died and went to heaven. It's like I woke up I woke up out of my nightmare into a dream." It's funny, people want to. I don't like to say this because brag a little bit. It sounds like
okay. That's okay.
Go for it, Frank. Go for it.
You earned it.
Frank, go for it. We want to hear it.
People call me legend. I remember one other fighter. Who was it? Oh gosh, I'm sorry, I can't remember. Anyway, another fighter introduced me to a friend of his and referred to me as this is Frank Duarte. He's a legend, and people are saying this, and I'm thinking, what are you talking about? There's guys way, Zarates and Ruben Olivares and fighters like that. Those guys are legends. But I realized my legend. Okay, I'll admit it. I'm a legend.
Hey, what we said, Frankie, me and Frankie, for me being younger than you are, I look at you as like that. I do look at you.
I do too. I see you as a legend.
I was watching. I see you follow you guys. I was like, man, I'm a young kid. Like, man, Frankie's a warrior, bad boy. Like I see John Montes, Herman Montes. I look at all them too. Carl Palomino, Danny Lopez. Boom, all in the same group. I see the same group.
Yeah, you definitely belong in the elite of that era and that place.
I see that. I understand. I see that. I see it.
And now what I realize it is, though, the legend is behind the unlikely likelihood that I would.
The odds were so stacked.
My comeback would be a success as much as it was a success.
You paid your dues to be a legend. You did. You did.
And I got that nose to prove it.
And you, Frank, you didn't have a chance. When you started that comeback, you didn't have a chance, and somehow you did better than all expectations.
Frankie, the way you fought, Frankie, man, the crowd, they fucking loved that reason why they come see you, Frankie, because you were they don't want nobody boring boxer. They want the fucking bloodbath. They want the wars. You brought that every time you fought. You made boom, this guy's gonna make it whatever happens, win or lose, it's gonna be a knockout, drag out fight. We wanted to see that shit.
Arturo Gatti before Arturo Gatti on the West Coast. That's what he was.
Yeah, Arturo Gatti was amazing, Yeah, it felt good. My I regret things, of course, my getting loaded in my but I also regret not. I could box a lot better than people thought. I remember when I was coming up in the pros, when I was undefeated, I was a boxer puncher. It's kind of a Mondo Ramos style in a way. I got hit, but I had this flashy jab and combinations and footwork. When I made my comeback, I turned more into a brawler. And somehow I would be in a fight, and if nothing was happening immediately because of the fear of being booed, I said, I can't let that happen ever. I would sacrifice myself to make something happen. I'd take chances. And I didn't, unfortunately, fighters, I wish I could be a trainer. There's so much I could teach.
Why can't you be? Why can't you be a trainer?
He was a trainer. He trained fighters on Freight Road. He did for a while, but he did for a minute.
For a while, yeah. But I mean, being able to teach, I could be the best defensive teacher in the world and yet not be a good defensive fighter.
Yeah.
Because people don't realize my lack of defense wasn't because of lack of know-how. Now watch. You'll see people wanting to learn the Mayweather defense. And, I want to learn I don't care what you learn. You're not going to have defense like Mayweather. It has nothing to do with his technique. It has to do with his reflexes. Yeah. He has amazing reflexes. Amazing reflexes.
And a lot of experience. Amateur experience.
Yeah. So it's I could teach, there's some of the old school stuff I remember I did in my younger years. My footwork, I was in and out. I had good footwork. I'm watching my fights on my comeback, and some, even before then, but where I'm not moving my feet the way I used to. And I had lost certain abilities, or not lost them, but forgot them.
Oh, you were getting older too. That doesn't always happen.
Break this, Ron. I love you, dog. I love you. 559. Listen, I love you. Listen, let me ask you a question. Frank, I gotta get out of here. Listen, Rod, sorry, John. I gotta get out of here. Listen, John, Frank. Let me ask you a couple questions real quick before I get out of here. Frankie, what was your best fight?
Well, okay. That's really, I know what the answer is going to be, what everyone thinks it is and what they want it to be.
Zaragoza?
Is the second Davila fight.
Okay.
But it's not my favorite. It's probably because the second Davila fight, I didn't want that fight. I wanted to retire after I fought. When I fought Panengo, in the news they asked me what I want to do. I said I'm going to retire. I did my thing. I made this comeback. You know, I said the only way I'll continue is if I get a rematch with Bernardo Panengo. If not, I'm going to retire. So I'm out there, you know, on the streets or at parties or at family events, collecting accolades and enjoying the limelight when Dan Guzin calls me, Frank. Is there any fight? What? There's sure you don't want to fight again? I said, no, I don't want to fight. He says, what if there's one fighter you could fight? Who would it be? And I knew what he was getting at. And so I answered it just like this, with this much disencouragement. Albert Davila. I didn't say Albert Davila like he expected me. Oh, Albert Davila, I'm going to get a chance to get revenge. Oh, Albert Davila. No, it was Albert Davila. Okay, come on, let me hear it. You know, I don't want it. I don't want to fight anymore. I'm tired. My face is tired of getting hit. You know, I want to quit now. And so that fight comes up, you know, so that fight happens. And that's probably the most fight that I'm most recognized by is that fight. People want to talk about Davila, and I want to change the subject. I want to talk about Salud or Panengo. You know, I don't like talking about the Davila fight because I was losing. I was catching up. I was catching up, you know, the later rounds. He beat me big the first early round. And the first round was close. You know, nothing really happened. Second, third, fourth round. He won those 3 rounds big. Fifth round, I think, is when I started taking over and started. I triple up, bam, 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 in and out. And I started getting my rhythm.
Let's go.
You know, so I started. But I hadn't caught up yet. And again, I go back. I don't like to say I would have. I don't know what would have happened in the next rounds.
Yep.
I don't like to be like other fighters who, oh yeah, I would have did this. I don't know. It didn't happen yet. At that point, I was catching up, and I kind of slacked off in the last round. I remember he won the last 2, and
go.
All of a sudden, he's bleeding all over the place.
Go.
And they stopped the fight. They give it to me on technical knockout, and I'm great. Yeah, okay, great. You know, and I hadn't, you know, I hadn't seen the fight or nothing. So then they're interviewing us in the corner, and then they mentioned headbutt, and I'm saying headbutt. What headbutt? And I don't know. You know, I said, headbutt. No one had mentioned it to me because the referee didn't see the headbutt. So that's why I wanted technical knockout. So then they showed the headbutt, and I said, my jaw dropped. I was like, oh man. I was so embarrassed. Then it's okay, but it didn't matter because to my fans and all of my stable and my family, they were hoisting me up on their shoulder. There were 3 hoorays for Frank, you know. All this attention and all this credit. So we go up to the forum room after the fight because they're going to show the fight. It's delayed. It's live, but it's actually delayed.
Couple hours, yeah.
Yeah. So we go up to the forum club to watch the fight, and I'm all excited, ready to fight it. And then everything that happened in the fight the people, everything I did was but they're not saying they're not saying nothing when I'm getting properly. And I'm watching, I'm the only one being honest in the whole group, and I'm going like this. I just slumped down in my seat and I said, boy, I look really crappy, especially those first few rounds.
It's like you said, you're your own worst critic, though.
Yeah.
You didn't look that crappy as you think you did.
Yeah. But those rounds, those early rounds, there's things I want to say, but there's something I want to say.
Is Paul Banke frozen?
He said he left.
No, he came back, but he froze up. Yeah, that's okay. He'll be back maybe. But let me ask you this then. So let's wrap it up. We've been with you an hour. Let me ask you this. What is your proudest moment as a professional boxer?
That is so, I am really hard on myself.
You could only do one of those things you could relive. What are you going to pick?
If I could relive it and do it a little different, it would be the Penango fight. But geez, it's sad to say. Let's see. Yeah. Sad to say I don't. I had great moments. I think if I had to relive anything, it would be after the fight, signing autographs somewhere.
No, that makes all the sense in the world. You're on top of the world and people appreciate you. That's a great feeling for anybody.
It's kind of, to me, it's really sad to say. I didn't realize things until you get interviewed that it made me look at, it causes me to look at something in another perspective, and proud.
Everybody likes to be acknowledged and recognized.
Yeah, I love the idea of my whole career together, that I think just not one fight. Oh, the happiest was, I guess, when I got the $50,000 for the Stroh's tournament.
Yep.
But it wasn't.
That's what I thought you were going to say, because you beat an undefeated guy, pretty close to home, and you won a $50,000 check in the Stroh's tournament. That was a big deal back then.
Yeah, that would be but that world title. I got to tell you, there's one moment I could go back to. It would be being in the ring at the end of the Bernardo Penango fight, when everyone's in the ring announcer, the boxers, the trainers, the newspaper, the cameramen, moments before they announced the decision. That I would like to relive over and over.
Do you think it's going to go your way? And that feeling must have been incredible.
Yeah.
Amazing.
You know what? And I'll tell you the truth. I didn't know which way it was going to go. If it wasn't for the fact that everyone was telling me that I won that fight in the ring, and the fans were cheering me and calling out my name, and Oscar Muniz up there telling me, "You're champion of the world, Frank," and Armando Muniz hugging me, and with a smile, and everyone coming up, and I swear that day. I had never been kissed by more men in my life.
I liked it. Well, let's wrap it up. We've been with you over an hour. Our editor is going to be upset with us for taking so long, but it was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure Paul Banke would say the same thing, but he left, as you know. So, but thank you so much. I'll let you know when it airs. It airs on Thursday. He edits it. We air it. I'll tag it. Oh no, I'll put it on Facebook. It'll be on YouTube. It'll be a bunch of stuff. I'll tag you. You can see it. I'll let you know when it's up. Okay.
Okay, great.
Thank you once again. It was honestly an honor and a privilege to have you. And if you want to come back, just let us know. We would love to have you anytime.
I enjoyed it. It's great. We talked about my favorite subject, me.
Yeah. That's it. That's perfect. And that's a perfect ending. Thank you once again. And you are a legend, honestly.
Well, thank you.
All right. Thank you again, and we'll see you soon.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
And that's our show, everybody. Thanks for listening or watching, wherever you're checking it out. This show is brought to you by our sponsor, Manscaped. Go check them out. They are saving our balls, and they can save yours too, or somebody you care about. It's a pretty awesome device, so go check out what they got, the Lawnmower 3.0, the Weed Whacker, and more. It's a great gift for Father's Day, birthdays, weddings, anything. So yeah, head over there and use promo code SNOBS, SNOBS, and you'll get 20% off and free shipping. Also, we'd like to thank our super fan patrons. They are all Scene Snob family to us. They support us every month, and you can be one too. So head over to the Patreon channel, the Scene Snobs, and it's $5 a month, and you can join in with helping support us and get the free perks too. Also, you can follow us on social media. We are on everything at the Scene Snobs, so Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We are on Facebook, the Scene Snobs. Everywhere. We have fun stuff always going on, always have contests and stuff, so go follow us, check us out. You can go to our link tree by going to thescenesnobs.com. There's our link tree, there's our Patreon, there is all of our shows and the links for all of that. So thanks again for checking it out. Just head over to thescenesnobs.com where everything is, and we will talk to you soon.